The first knock came at 2017 am, not loud, not urgent. Just 3 slow taps like someone trying not to wake the neighbors. I was already awake, staring at the ceiling in the dim blue glow of my phone, listening to the house settle. The air conditioner clicked off. Somewhere in the walls, pipes sighed. My bedroom felt too big for one person, the shadows in the corners too heavy, too patient. Then the taps came again. I sat up, blanket sliding down my chest, and held my breath. The house went still in that way it does when you stop moving, like it's listening back. It's probably nothing, I told myself. Branch against the siding, a raccoon, a trick of tired ears. But the knocks weren't on the outside wall, they came from downstairs, from the front door. I waited for my phone to catch up with my shaking hands and checked the time again, like the numbers might rearrange themselves into something more reasonable. 2017. The quiet hour. The hour where even refrigerators hum softer. The third time, the knock shifted closer, sharper, impatient. I slid my feet to the floor. The wood was cold enough to make my toes curl. I moved to the bedroom door and cracked it open, careful not to let the hinges squeak. The hallway outside was black, the only light a pale slice from the street lamp filtering through the frosted bathroom window. My parents had left yesterday, 2 nights away for their anniversary. They joked about me enjoying the freedom of having the place to myself, like I was still 12 and would throw a party the second their car left the driveway. I hadn't thrown a party. I'd eaten microwave noodles, watched videos until my eyes hurt, and triple-checked that every lock was turned. Still, Home Alone has a way of making every sound personal. I listened. Nothing. Then, faintly, so faint it could have been my imagination, came the sound of something brushing the welcome mat. A slow drag. My throat tightened. I backed away from the doorway and returned to my room, closing my door until it clicked. My heart beat harder, annoyed with itself for reacting. I grabbed my phone and typed a message to my mom. Did you guys forget something? The text sat there unsent. Because even if they had forgotten something, they wouldn't be knocking at 2017. They'd call. They'd honk, they'd shout my name. And the sound downstairs hadn't been my name. I didn't want to admit that thought to myself, so I sent the message anyway. The little delivered checkmark appeared like a mockery. I got up and quietly opened my closet. The old aluminum baseball bat was still there, shoved behind winter coats. I hadn't held it in years. It felt wrong in my hands, too light, too innocent for what my brain was picturing. I set it beside my bed and sat down, forcing myself to breathe slowly. In, out, in, out. My thoughts snapped at each other like dogs. If someone is out there, why knock? Why not just try the handle? A rational answer rose, because they want to know if anyone's home, because they want you to come to the door, because a small sound cut through my thinking. A faint metallic click. It came from downstairs, from the direction of the front door lock. My mouth went dry, fast, like all the moisture in my body had been sucked out through a straw. I stared at the black rectangle of my bedroom window, half expecting to see a face pressed to the glass. Another click. Then a soft scrape, like a key being pulled out of a lock. I froze so hard my skin tingled. My parents kept a spare key outside somewhere. Hidden, but not hidden enough if someone had been watching. The house was silent again. No footsteps. No creak of wood. Just the faint hum of electricity, which somehow made it worse. Because if someone had come inside, the house should have reacted, should have creaked under their weight, should have groaned, should have warned me. Instead it stayed still, like it was holding its breath too. I picked up my phone and dialed 911, finger hovering over the call button. I didn't press it. Not yet. I wanted to be sure. I wanted certainty before I invited flashing lights and questions and embarrassment into my life. I told myself that was the reason. But the truth was uglier. A small part of me didn't want to make a sound. The bedroom door felt too thin. The darkness in the hall too deep. If I spoke, if my voice echoed down the stairs, would it echo back? I listened again. At first, nothing. Then, so quietly it made my stomach twist, I heard the faintest sound of movement, like cloth sliding against cloth. Not upstairs, downstairs, somewhere in the living room. The living room had hardwood floors. They creaked when you crossed them, unless you knew exactly where to step. My parents and I knew exactly where to step. Someone else did too. I swallowed, forcing a breath through my nose. I tried to picture the layout of the house like a map. My room at the end of the hall, bathroom across, parents' room, the staircase at the other end leading down to the foyer, and beyond it the living room. From my bedroom, I couldn't see the stairs directly, only the stretch of hall that led to them. I stood, took the bat, and moved to the bedroom door again. I didn't open it at first, just rested my forehead against the wood, feeling the cool paint, letting my ears do the work. A long moment passed. Then, from somewhere below, I heard a sound that wasn't a creak. A gentle, deliberate tap. Not on the door, on the wall. 1, 2, 3, like someone counting. The taps moved slowly across the wall as if tracing a path, then stopped. My heartbeat turned strange, less like a drum and more like something fluttering, trapped. A memory surfaced. When I was little, my dad had taught me a game called wall walk. You'd tap along the wall and someone upstairs would follow the sound, trying to guess where you were. It had been funny then, safe. It didn't feel funny now. I pulled my phone close and finally pressed call. The ringtone in my ear sounded too loud, like a siren. 1 ring. 2. A dispatcher answered, her voice calm, practiced. 911, what's your emergency? I opened my mouth, and for a second nothing came out. My throat refused. Then I whispered, I think someone's in my house. Okay, she said, instantly sharper without raising her voice. What's your address? I gave it. My tongue felt thick, clumsy. Are you alone? Yes. Are you in a safe place? I'm in my bedroom. Door closed. Do you have a way to lock it? Wes. I reached behind me and turned the small lock on the knob. The click sounded final. Good, stay there. Police are on the way. Do you hear the person now? I held my breath and listened. The tapping downstairs started again. This time it wasn't on the wall. It sounded like fingernails on glass, slow. Patient, my eyes drifted to my bedroom window again. I whispered, I hear something. What do you hear? It sounds like scratching. Weird. I don't know. Downstairs. Okay. Stay quiet. Stay where you are. Don't confront them. Her words should have comforted me. Instead, the idea of someone being in my house and not confronting them felt impossible, like being in a burning room and being told to wait. Then the scratching stopped. Silence returned so suddenly it made my ears ring. The dispatcher asked, can you see the hallway from where you are? Yes. Do you see anyone? No. Good, officers are a few minutes out. Just stay with me. I nodded even though she couldn't see. Then, from the hallway outside my door, came a sound that made my blood go cold. A soft exhale. Not mine, not from the phone. A breath taken just inches from my door. Every muscle in my body locked. The dispatcher said my name. She'd asked it earlier, and I'd given it. Are you still there? I didn't answer. I couldn't. My lungs felt like they'd been packed with cotton. Outside the door, the breath came again. Slow, controlled, like someone smelling the air. Then a whisper so faint it was almost a thought. Home. The words slid under my door and into my room. I clenched the bat so hard my fingers ached. Tears stung my eyes, not from sadness, but from the body's useless panic. The dispatcher's voice sharpened. Sir, can you respond? I need to know you're okay. I forced a whisper. Someone's outside my door. Okay, stay quiet. Do not open it. Can you get somewhere hidden in the room? My gaze darted to the closet. It suddenly seemed like a coffin. Maybe. I whispered. Outside, something touched the doorknob. Very gently, like a test. It didn't rattle. It didn't yank. It just turned the knob slowly, as if the person on the other side already knew it would be locked. The knob stopped. A pause. Then a soft scrape, like fingernails gliding over painted wood. Up. Down. It sounded like someone searching for a seam. The dispatcher was still talking, but her voice had become distant, like it was coming from another room. All my attention narrowed to that door. Then the whisper again, not through the wood, right against it. I know. A pause. Another pause. Alone. My stomach rolled. My skin prickled in waves. I squeezed my eyes shut and tried to imagine the face on the other side. A burglar, a prank, someone drunk, someone who thought this was funny. But the voice didn't sound drunk. It didn't sound playful. It sounded certain. And there was something else under it, like a faint echo that didn't belong. Like two voices layered imperfectly. The doorknob turned again. This time it pushed, testing the lock with a gentle pressure that made the whole door flex in its frame. I heard the wood complain, a quiet groan. Help is coming, the dispatcher said firmly. Stay with me. Do you have a window you can exit from? Second floor, I whispered. Okay, stay in place. Don't do anything risky unless you have to. The pressure against the door stopped. Silence again, a terrible, listening silence. I waited for footsteps to retreat. Instead, something slid along the bottom of the door. A thin line of darkness appeared, like someone had pressed something flat to the gap between the door and the floor. At first, I couldn't understand what I was seeing. Then the thing moved again, and I realized it wasn't an object. It was a finger. Long, too long, pale in the sliver of streetlight that leaked from the hall. The finger wiggled slightly, as if feeling the air in my room. The dispatcher said something, my name again, maybe, but I couldn't hear her over the roar in my ears. The finger traced the gap slowly, like it was tasting for warmth. Then it stopped, and a voice, quieter now, whispered through the crack. Found you. I stumbled backward, almost tripping over the edge of my bed. My hand flew to my mouth to stop a sound from escaping. The finger withdrew. The hall went still. Then, from somewhere lower, near the stairs, came a single, heavy footstep. A normal footstep, human, followed by another, and another. It was walking away from my door. Relief hit me so hard my knees shook. Maybe it was leaving. Maybe it had heard the sirens. Maybe. A new sound cut through the quiet, a faint cheerful chime, my phone's notification sound. My mom had texted back. The timing was so cruel it felt unreal. My fingers, trembling, tapped the screen without thinking. Well, we're at the hotel, why? The message sat there innocent. Then, below it, another notification appeared. A new message, from an unknown number. No name, no contact, just a blank profile. The text read, "Don't tell her." My blood turned to ice. The dispatcher's voice snapped back into focus. "Sir, what's happening?" I stared at the unknown text, my brain refusing to accept it. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, useless. Another message came in from the same unknown number. "Turn your phone off." A third message followed immediately. "You're making it loud." I felt my breathing turn shallow, almost animal. Somewhere downstairs, a door creaked. Not the front door. An interior door, like a closet being opened. Then came the sound of something dragging across the floor. Slow and controlled, the dispatcher repeated, "Sir, I need you to answer me." I forced a whisper. "Someone's texting me. They're in the house. Do not respond," she said instantly. "Do not give away your position. Police are very close." I stared at the phone. Another message arrived. This one didn't feel like a warning. It felt like an invitation. "Look under the bed." My eyes flicked to the space beneath my mattress. A dark hollow. A place dust gathered. A place my cat used to hide when he was alive. I hadn't thought about that in months. My throat tightened. I shook my head, tiny, refusing. Then the house made a sound I'll never forget. From directly beneath my room, somewhere in the ceiling of the floor below, came 3 slow taps. 1, 2, 3. Directly under where my bed sat, my skin went numb. The unknown number texted again, "I'm already here." The bat slipped in my sweat-damp grip. I caught it clumsily, knuckles white. The dispatcher said, "Officers are pulling up now. Do you hear sirens?" And then, faintly through the walls, through the night I did. A distant wail rising and falling. Hope hit me like a wave. But before it could settle, the tapping under my bed came again, harder this time. Not from downstairs, from the underside of the floor, from right beneath me. As if something was pressed to the wood inches away, and knocking from the other side. The bed frame trembled slightly. I scrambled backward until my shoulders hit the wall. My eyes stayed locked on the space under the bed. The darkness there seemed thicker than it should have been, like it had weight. Then something shifted in it. Not a shape, not a face. Just the absence of light moving, like a shadow turning over. A whisper rose from below the mattress, so close it felt like it brushed my skin. Too late. The sirens grew louder. Outside, a car door slammed. I heard a shout, muffled, distant, but human. The dispatcher said, "They're at your house. Stay where you are. They'll come to you." I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. I wanted to do anything other than sit there while something breathed under my bed like it belonged there. The doorknob rattled suddenly, violent now, angry, then stopped. Footsteps pounded up the stairs, heavy, fast. "Police!" The sound was so reassuring I almost sobbed. A fist hammered my bedroom door. "Police!" "Open up." My fingers fumbled with the lock. The bat clanged softly against the wall. I twisted the knob and yanked the door open. 2 officers stood in the hall, flashlights cutting through the darkness. One held his gun low but ready. The other looked past me into the room, eyes scanning. "You okay?" one asked. I tried to speak, but my voice came out broken. Someone was here. The officer's flashlight swung toward my bed. The light slid beneath it. Dust. Boxes. Nothing else. The darkness under the bed sat perfectly still, like it had never moved, like it had never been there. The officer frowned. You said someone was in the house. Yes, I insisted, voice trembling. They were at my door. They texted me. I held up my phone with shaking hands. The screen was blank. No unknown number, no messages. Only my mom's text, sitting alone, innocent and ordinary. The officer stared at it, then at me. Are you sure? My mouth went dry again. The air felt too cold, too clean. I opened my mouth to argue, to insist, to explain the finger, the whisper, the tapping. Then behind the officers, from down the hallway near the stairs, came a soft sound. A single, slow exhale. The officers turned sharply, flashlight sweeping. Nothing. Just shadows. Just the empty hall. The officer closest to me said, We'll clear the house. Stay here. They moved away. Boots quiet on the carpeted hall runner, lights flickering over family photos. I stood in my doorway, feeling exposed, watching their beams disappear down the stairs. My phone buzzed once in my hand. I looked down. A new message appeared, from my mom, but the preview text wasn't from her. It said, Home alone. My blood turned to ice again. I tapped the notification. The message opened. It wasn't from my mom. It was from an unknown number, and it read, I can wait until they leave. I didn't make a sound. I didn't even breathe. Because under the bed, in the thick, patient dark, something shifted slowly, like it was smiling, and a whisper rose from the floorboards, soft enough that only I could hear it. Don't worry. A pause. I live here too.